right, welcome back to take two of today's Facebook Live section. This time will not be a muted version of it. One of us forgot to put on his microphone, or both of us forgot to put on their microphone. And we are on now, correct? All right, so today, welcome to the Keys History and Discovery Center. I hope you guys are staying safe. This is our Tuesday morning version. We're going to talk a little bit. My name is Brad Bertelli. I'm the curator here at the Keys History and Discovery Center. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Overseas Highway. There have been many versions of the Overseas Highway, but one of the big misnomers about the highway was that it opened in 1938. And while one version of the highway did open in 1938, the original highway, called State Road 4A, also known as the fishing route and also known as the Overseas Highway, first opened to public transport in 1928. So in 1928, it was possible to get in your car in Miami and drive all the way to Key West. This first version of the highway, you would travel along the Card Sound Bridge, over the Card Sound Road, over the bridge, down Key Largo, over Plantation Key, across Winley Key, over Upper Matecumbe, and then you come to Lower Matecumbe Key. And the big difference between the highway, the 1928 highway and the 1938 highway version of the highways, was the 1928 version was incomplete. There was a 40-mile gap between Lower Matecumbe Key and No Name Key. And so in order to link this gap, there was an automobile ferry system that was used. And that's some of the pictures that are behind me. This is one of the automobile ferries, and as you can see, there are some cars on the on the boat, and there are four of these ferries that were built for the highway system, and it was a 40-mile gap. So you would come to Lower Matecumbe Key. This is the ferry terminal. There, you would board the ferry, and it would be a 4-hour trip down to No Name Key. At No Name Key, you would disembark, and then you could travel all the way down to Key West. Now, this 4-hour trip, there was two ferries daily, one at 9 a.m. and one at 1 p.m. Not super reliable if there was high wind or extreme tides. You can see that with the broad side of the ship would act like kind of a sail. I drive a Jeep, and whenever it's rainy or windy and I go over a bridge, those plastic windows and doors are like a big sail, and that boat or the Jeep will kind of move on the bridges, and that same kind of effect that would happen here on the ship. So during the windy days, it was not super reliable, so that 4-hour trip might become longer. Now, because this was not a very reliable, it was doable but not super reliable, they wanted to create, it wasn't bringing a lot of people, as many people as they hoped, to Key West. So there was an effort to create to get rid of the ferry system. And the ferry system would advance. In 1932, there were two additional ferry terminals built on Grassy Key and on Key Vaca Key, the Marathon area today. So that 40-mile trip ended up being cut down to two 12-mile trips. And also made, for the first time, the Middle Keys accessible to automobile traffic. Now, because this wasn't super reliable, they wanted to create a solid bridge system that would eradicate the need for these automobile ferries. And that's when, in 1934, a lot of the World War I veterans were brought down to the Keys to build a solid bridge system that would eradicate this ferry system. Now, there's only a little bit of evidence left of what these World War I veterans were building. As you drive over the Channel 2 Bridge, leaving Lower Matecumbe Key, going down to Long Key, you'll see 8 look-like coffins out in the water. And a lot of people call them the coffins. But these were actually bridge piers. That would have been the first concrete bridge that would have linked Lower Matecumbe to Jewfish Key, which was also known as Greyhound Key. Today it is called Fiesta Key, where the KOA campground is. That would have been the first link in the chain, and this bridge system would have pretty much paralleled the railroad. Unfortunately, this is also when, 1935, when the Labor Day hurricane came and took so many lives and destroyed the efforts that the veterans were making, and also destroyed the railroad track. We will get into the 1935 hurricane on another day, so I'm going to kind of gloss over that part of it. But what the hurricane also did, was the last, on September 2nd, 1935, was the last time that a train ever traveled across the Flagler's Oversea Railroad. So because Monroe County was bankrupt at this time, this was the Great Depression, Florida was bankrupt. They could not afford to rebuild the railroad and create the solid bridge system of the Overseas Highway. So what they did was Flagler, or the FEC, sold the right-of-way of the train for $640,000 to Monroe County, and then the railroad bridges, which were built exceedingly well and withstood all the hurricane forces. After the hurricane, instead of building new bridges to accommodate automobile traffic, what they did is they expanded or widened the railroad bridges. And this project was finished in 1938, and it was at this point that the second version of the Overseas Highway was created. And this one included the railroad bridges, the Channel 2 Bridge, the Bahia Honda Bridge. Back in 1938, you would drive over the top of the Bahia Honda Bridge, so 65 feet down. And a lot of stories talk about how when two buses would pass over the top of the Bahia Honda Bridge, their side mirrors would collide and break off. I've heard stories that someone opened up a side view mirror shop at the end of the bridge, that I'm sure did lots of good business. And people who talk about driving over that bridge talk about how narrow it was and how scary it was, but also what a great view and how beautiful it was. So that was the 1938 version. There would be several more versions of the highway. In 1944, a third version of the highway would open up, and this would incorporate what's known today as the 18-mile stretch, which was the original path of the Overseas Railroad. Also, some of the lower sections of the highway would be straightened out and not travel along Sugarloaf Key, for instance, down along the Atlantic, but along the right-of-way of the train. And the 1944 version of the highway more readily resembles the road that we drive down today. But also what happened in 1938 when they opened up the road is it became a toll road. And there were two toll booths established on the road system, one at Lower Matacumbe, where the Boy Scout camp is today, and one on Big Pine Key near the Chamber of Commerce there. And I believe it was $1.50 per car plus 50 cents, or $1 per car plus 50 cents per passenger. So it was not a cheap thing in those days. And the toll system was enacted through 1954, and then in 1954 the tolls were lifted, and they tried to call it the Florida Freeway at that point, but locals were understandably upset and wanted to make sure that the name Overseas Highway remained, and which is what it's called today. And it's a beautiful drive, and one of the most spectacular drives in all of the country, and we're very proud to have that part of our heritage here in the Florida Keys. And I hope everyone enjoyed today's little talk about Overseas Highway. One more thing before I sign off here. We have two walking tours that we've produced with the Florida Humanities Council, and they can be found on our website, keysdiscovery.com, or you can go to flstories.org, and you can download these to your phone or to your computer. And it's a great way to experience some Florida Keys history. There are about 35 of these walking tours from around the state. There are 3 here in the Keys, 1 in Key West, and then the 2 that we've done. Walk Isla Morada um, talks a lot about the building of the overseas highway. We also have Walk Indian Key, which explores my favorite island in all the Florida Keys. Great way to spend the day, or spend an hour in the comfort of your own house with maybe a cold beverage and some air conditioning in these days when people are pent up. Please visit these great walking tours. It's a great way to explore the entire state of Florida. And in the meantime, hope everyone is safe, and we will see you again on Thursday morning, 10 o'clock, where we'll explore another part of the incredible Keys History and Discovery Center, and we'll talk more about some great history. So thanks so much. Bye-bye.